Thank you so much, Mr. Representative, for inviting me out today. How many of you folks saw the article in the paper today? Very good, very good. And apparently that's a very tremendous thing, because they say it's not often that the Beacon Journal actually comes out opposing the mayor. And I haven't been into politics long enough to know if that's true or not. Is that true? Well, so that, to me, that is a sign of things are beginning to change. And momentum is beginning to shift. And I believe that we all have to, starting now, come together to make sure that things continue to change. The reason why I got involved in this is very simple. I recently became a community organizer, and I went to a week-long training in Columbus to learn the science of organizing. And it taught me how governments are supposed to run. And I hadn't had enough interaction with my local government to know whether or not we were running the right way or not. But I learned how governments are supposed to run, and how people are supposed to be able to get help from their elected officials, especially the ones who control their tax dollars. And so when I come back from my week-long community organizer training, I go to my first block watch meeting. And at this meeting, the people had pulled the councilman in because they felt that the children were in danger in the neighborhood because there was a park across the street from all of their houses. But there was no swings or any slides or anything in the park for the children to play on. So as a result, the children had to travel to a different neighborhood that was really dangerous in order for them to play. And the parents were saying that, you know, we just need about $4,000 and we can put a swing set across the street and our children can play. And so I sat there and I was all excited, I was fired up because I had learned about how it's supposed to look when people get help from their government, and now this was my chance to see how it looks when people from the city bring their elected official in and get help. And as I was sitting there all excited to see what he was going to say and how he was going to get these swings so these people's children could feel safe, my heart dropped to my stomach. Because when he opened his mouth, he said, "You keep asking me about these swings. I already told you we're not putting no money into these small parks." And I was blew back by that. And then one of the community leaders said, "But the taxpayers are saying they want their money to buy swings for the kids." And then he looked at him and said, "You can come down and speak at City Hall if you want to. We already decided we're not putting no money into these small parks." And so right then and there, I knew that something wasn't quite right. For this guy to be able to treat these people like that, and our city operates with $500 million, and they wanted $4,000 to get their children some swings to be safe, and they couldn't get it. And so I left there very troubled. And I was especially troubled because I myself had voted for this individual. And I knew that when I voted for him, he was the only name on the ballot. And so because of what I had learned at community organizer training and about holding your government accountable, I realized that we can't hold people accountable if nobody runs against them. And so I made up my mind then and there that I was going to do something to try to find somebody to run against this guy. Whoever wanted to run against this guy, I was going to use my skills as an organizer to help him get this guy out. And so I was hopeful because I did know that our government has elections every 2 years for city council. So I said, okay, these people won't have to deal with this much longer because we're going to get this guy out after this next year. And so, but I did leave there very disturbed. And so I went down to the very next council meeting to do some more investigation. I wanted to find out what else is going on in the city. And when I walked in, I saw on the agenda, at the top of the agenda, they said 4-year terms. And when I saw it, it troubled me because I thought, you know, I was hopeful because we could get this guy out every 2 years. But I said, what if these people had to deal with this for 4 years before they could do something about it? And I immediately knew that, you know, this is not good. I had looked up, and out of our 10 ward races, only 4 of them even had a challenger. So we had 6 races go without a challenger. And in my mind, that means unaccountability. And now they want to go from 2 years to 4 years, and I was very disturbed. Then I heard several of the councilmen talking about how the language was illegal. They put 2 issues on 1 ballot and all these things, and the councilman actually sued to get them to change the language on the ballot. And at the end of the day, I said, okay, there's a reason I went and learned community organizing. There's a reason that I've been getting involved. I have to do something to fight against this. And so I began to go and speak out at City Hall. And those are some of the videos that they have of me on YouTube. I just went and I just started speaking out about what I experienced and how it was messed up and how corrupt it was. And then they kept pulling me to the back after the council meeting so they could talk to me. They tried to co-opt me. And we were talking, and they thought that the reason I was speaking out was because I wanted to run for council. And when he said, well, what is this really about? I said, man, this is not about Ward 5. This is about issue 3. I don't want 4-year terms. And in his response to me in the back room, he said, you know what my view on issue 3 is? Why should anybody get to run from a safe seat? That was his words to me. And so, but then when they went out and started talking about the issue, they just said, saving money. Let's be like Cleveland and have 4-year terms. Everything except the fact that this would stop councilmen at large from being able to run from a safe seat. So I believe and I feel and I know that they are lying to the people, holding back information and making it sound good to get something done. And we voted this down in 2006, but they came back and said, okay, well, it'll limit our raises, but they have the power to limit their own raises. They just don't have to vote for them. And so it doesn't make sense to me. And so I've been going and speaking out, trying to get people to understand the issue. So what I found is that in 1922, when our charter was developed, the people who developed it made sure that the councilman at large could run from a safe seat to challenge the mayor. It's as a check and balance to keep the mayor accountable. And so similar to how the mayor was recalled in 2009, then he changed the rules so he couldn't get recalled anymore. He was challenged last year, now he wants to change the rules so he can't get challenged again. Because since 1922, for the last 90 years, a councilman at large can run from a safe seat to challenge the mayor, and that's good for the city. It keeps a check and balance. But if this issue passes, then the rules change and no councilman at large can challenge the mayor without giving up their seat.
Ever.
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 Once they change the charter, it takes hell and high water to change it back.
To get it fixed back. And so this is a serious issue. And then as we were looking over the actual charter today, we saw in the language that what they planning on doing, because they're saying we want to limit raises to no more than a certain number. But then in there they have that they can put an ordinance that gives them regular raises every year so that they won't have to vote on it, it just happens automatically.
Right.
And you know, my thing is, you know, I just so happened to be watching a documentary on a crooked mayor in Newark. And one of the major issues that they were saying about this crooked mayor is that he had given himself so many raises that he was making over $200,000 a year. So I did some investigation to see what our mayor is making, and what I found was that the mayor of Akron's salary is already higher than the governor of the state of Ohio. The mayor of Akron's salary is higher than the governor of the state of Ohio, and there is no other mayor in Ohio, except the mayor of Columbus, who has a salary higher than the governor's. So I told myself, at what point is enough enough? They've already given themselves so many raises that the mayor's salary is higher than the governor's, and now they want to put standard raises into the charter. Into the charter. And so it's time for us to stand and take a stance and begin to take our city back. It's very hard to change something in the charter, but it is possible, and that's what I'm learning. We can do it with a petition. If we can make our city however we want it to be, and I'm learning that instead of having to go and ask and beg the councilman for this and do that, we have the power as citizens to do what we want with our city. It's hard, but it can be done. And so, how do we do that? By getting petitions signed. There's a few other things. Another reason I believe that they want 4-year terms is because, we'll talk about it, the average sewer rate in the city of Akron is getting ready to go up to $300 a month. And when that happens, they're going to want to be as far away from the people as they can, hoping that over these 3 years, maybe they'll forget what we've done to them. And so we'll get more into the sewer issue and why that's happening. But at the end of the day, what we're going to start doing and what we need help doing is to start circulating petitions. We got some ideas on how to fix our city, and we're going to start circulating petitions. But if it's just me and a few people circulating petitions, it might take us a few years to collect the 8,000 signatures that we'll need, because we know they're going to throw half of them they're going to throw half of them out. And so we need 4,000 valid signatures. So what we need from you to be able to help this and to move forward in the past, we need people that's willing to volunteer and collect signatures. Even if it's just walking around with a petition when you go to the grocery store and getting people to sign it. Even if you only get you, your kid, and your grandkid's signature. Every signature counts and every signature helps. So we need people that want to change the city and are serious to get on the kind of petition patrol team, we'll call it, so that we can start circulating petitions. Another thing that we're going to do is we got this flyer that says to vote no on issue 3. And we want to have people standing outside of every polling location, handing these to people on election day so that they can see the vote no on issue 3. So what we need is people to volunteer to go whatever polling location you want to go to. Let us know, and we'll organize it so we make sure that somebody is as many places as possible, because we have to get this thing turned down. Because if it's not, it's going to be very hard for us to change our city with the election every 4 years. I'm hopeful and I believe we can do it with every 2 years. But every 4 years is going to be very hard. And then we're going to start changing other things, but we need this petition patrol. And so I have a sign-up sheet, and for all of you that are willing to either volunteer and help us get petitions, or to volunteer and go somewhere on election day to pass out the flyers, if you could just write your name and your phone number and your email on the paper so we can stay in contact and let you know what's going on, and keep in contact so that as petitions come down the line, we can make a phone call and say, okay, this is this month's petition, and you guys go circulate it. We have all these different communities we're going to speak at. Doing that, we could get a petition done in a matter of weeks, as opposed to however long it took us to get the 8,000 signatures to get us the right to speak at City Council. So that being said, that is why I'm here, that is why I'm fighting, and that is why I need your help. I appreciate your time, and I'm going to grab the sign-up sheet. Please, those of you who are willing to help us, just give us your name, your phone number, and your email address, and we'll keep you abreast of what's going on.
Thank you. Andrae.